Well, here we are. Feels like the center of the universe here. Actually, I lived here many years, and we would have this 9 o'clock class every morning. And I always felt like that every morning, sitting here, like we're right at the center of the universe. This is the real heart of the universe. And we hear of that one occasion when Bhakti Siddhir Goswami Maharaj was here and he was leaving. He was going back to America, and he was saying goodbye to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, "Oh, now you are going to some remote corner of the Western world." And Goswami Maharaj was kind of taken aback and saying, "What? I'm going to California." But then he thought about it and said, "Actually, this is the center. Right? This is the heart of everything, like where, you could say India in general is the center, it is the place, the Lord's chosen land, right? But Navadvip, this is the place of the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? And by His grace, we can all have some connection with these high teachings. And so this is really the real center. And so when we come here, we're being invited to kind of reconceive our version of reality, and This is the real heart, this is the real center. And this shelter has been established for us, by our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti-Daksha Sridhar Goswami, and Srila Govinda Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. He's giving us entrance into that shelter, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, actually. And we're going to, I'm very happy this time we can go to Eka Chakra. Last year we wanted to go, but it was too packed. But everything kind of started with Eka Chakra. Right? Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he was a part of the Gaudiya Math. Right? Yesterday he was a leading member of the Gaudiya Math. Yesterday we went to the Samadhi temple. Do you understand what a Samadhi is now? Samadhi Mandir? Yeah.
I feel like I have the description in my head, but to say it out loud.
Where there's a great soul who's resting. And resting is not exactly the right word, but meditating. But their form is actually there. Normally in the Vedic culture, bodies are burned because the body is just a bunch of flesh and blood, and it's good for. Gurudev mentioned for hygiene. It is good help to contain disease, right? Remove disease, but also it is actually helpful for the soul, because if the body is still there, it's harder to leave the attachment when they're moving on to their next birth, right? So it's easier for them if the body is burned. But the exception is in the case of a Mahatma, a very great soul. We consider their body is pure, spiritual. And so therefore we preserve their body, and they're placed in the ground. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj's divine form is actually here. And then this Murti, this Deity has also come for our worship. What did you say?
The Deity is the Mahaprabhu.
Yeah, this is Mahaprabhu Gaura Sundar, yeah.
This,
we were talking about this a few days ago. This came by some inspiration of Gurudev. He was originally in that temple. Do you remember when he was there? Yeah, it was before I came too. But the story that I heard is that he was, because this is the Vijaya, you've heard of Vijaya-Vigrahaḥ, right? Vijaya-Vigrahaḥ, it's a special kind of deity who kind of likes to move around. And sometimes he'll be taken out on parikrama, and then sometimes you'll see there are 2 Mahaprabhus on the altar. In Soquel, our California temple they have now. And so this deity of Mahaprabhu, he sometimes roams around. Sometimes they take him for parikrama around Govinda Kund on special occasions. He goes to visit Giriraj. So in our Dum Dum Park temple, you'll see they have 2 Mahaprabhus. They're the 3 principal deities, Radha, Krishna, Mahaprabhu. There's another Mahaprabhu called this Vijaya-Vigrahaḥ. And so this deity, the story I heard is he was originally on this altar. You also heard that, yeah. And then Gurudev had this inspiration that he wanted to come here. And partly the way I heard is that what Gurudev said was that the other, because he's so beautiful, the other Mahaprabhu felt a little shy. Because like he feels like he's more beautiful than him. So he felt a little shy, that Mahaprabhu, and so he came over to give him a little space. and also, there's some exchange, of course, going on here with Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Mahaprabhu here. So, and yeah, I mean, it's all, like we don't really know what's going on here. We're just kind of like seeing things on the surface. Gurudev wrote this incredible poem. Which one is it? Gurudev wrote a few compositions glorifying Srila Sridhar Maharaj. But, like there's a whole divine, like, cosmic interplay going on here, like with all these deities and Gurudev and Param Guru Maharaj and their samadhi. And Gurudev, he wrote this one, it's in our Kirtan guide, and the one I'm thinking of, I can't remember the name right now, but Gurudev has this one phrase where he refers to Sridhar Maharaj by Sevā-Saṁsiddhi-Vigrahaḥ. Vigraha means a deity, right? Sevā-Saṁsiddhi means like perfection in service. So he's saying, so in this poem, Srila Gurudev is describing how Srila Sridhar Maharaj came here. He established this temple, right? Manifest the deities, manifest all this, divine, service plane. And then he himself, took a deity form, and in that form, he's continuing with all the service. That, like, he's like still directing all the service, in this deity form, in this form, Sevā-Saṁsiddhi-Vigrahaḥ, deity of service in perfection. I think you could translate it, deity of service in perfection. And so there's like a whole divine service world going on. Beyond our vision, we may get some little touch sometimes, right? But there's a whole relationship going on here. And so it was one vision of Srila Sridhar Maharaj that Mahaprabhu would sometimes go in for pastimes in a temple in the Kunda, right? So if you'll see on the side of that temple, Sriman Mahaprabhu's divine water play temple, right? So that temple is also for Mahaprabhu's water pastimes. Because we hear how Mahaprabhu likes that, like in Puri, it's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? Sometimes he's playing, he has this water play with his associates, right? Nityananda and Advaita Acharya, they kind of like to wrestle around a little bit, and Swarup Damodar, Pundarik, Vidyanidhi, everyone kind of like pairs up and they have this kind of like wrestling and play in the water going on. And so Mahaprabhu likes some type of water play. And so that was part of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's vision that there would be a place for that here. And so they bring Mahaprabhu out and Chandan Yatra, right?
So
that time.
Do it, so they paint him.
With sandalwood.
It's like around Jagannath time, but very hot time of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, they bring him out. And maybe there's a second time, I can't remember. That time definitely. Once or twice in the year then we do circumambulation with him and then bring him, you saw those photos, right? And then bring him across on the boat to the temple. And then he's with Giriraj for some time and they bathe the deities. Like that, Abhishek, yeah, and then bring him back, And I got to be here at least once with Gurudev when they did that, and that was amazing. And going maybe a few times with Gurudev, and then going across on the boat, like with the deity, with Gurudev. Wow, man, that was pretty epic. Yeah. Yeah, so there's there's like a whole world going on here, and we're in the, there's this Bengali expression our gurus quote sometimes, what is it? Andi Bhutta Chakshuda Rishaya Dulite Kemane Se Paratattva. It's saying like when our eyes are covered by the dust of mundanity, of illusion, then how can we see that paratattva, that supreme truth, right? And so, by our mood of surrender, service, dedication, there's some purification that's taking place, right? And we may get some touch of that sometimes, The rust is getting cleared. And then we may get some touch.
So it's not manifest, so all these pastimes that are going on here, even as we speak, is that manifesting from the spiritual world?
Yeah, I mean, this, we can think that the Lord's pastimes, they're, in the spiritual plane, they're always manifest, right? There's vyakta and avyakta. Manifest, avyakta means unmanifest. So in the spiritual plane, it's always manifest. And here, it is always going on, but sometimes manifest, sometimes unmanifest, right? Sometimes appearing on the surface, and sometimes hidden. So we consider that it is always going on here, but sometimes it is before our vision, and sometimes behind the screen. And if we have the eyes to see, then we will see it is always going on. Yeah. And we mentioned the other day, right, one comment of Gurudev, which is quite astonishing. We heard from Madhusudana Maharaj that when Gurudev was revealing this temple, and this is an extraordinary temple. I mean, if you look at like the intricate detail, the beauty, the perfect harmony and everything, it's quite extraordinary.
I sat here for like an hour, just like looking at every little detail. It's like,
And there's a lot
so
of shape on here
intricate.
as well, isn't it?
It's so
Gurudev said actually it's not a Shiva. It looks like a Shiva Linga, but it's not. Gurudev said, we actually went through one talk of Gurudev's a few days ago, and somebody asked Gurudev that, why is there a Shiva Linga? And Gurudev said, actually it's not a Shiva Linga. He said it's a symbol of meditation. That was what he said. Yeah. But Gurudev made this very extraordinary comment, right, that he said Guru Maharaj's pastimes, they are eternal. And he said, so this Samadhi temple is also eternal. And he said all the temples here, they're eternally existing. And by the service of the devotees, they're becoming revealed in this plane. They're becoming manifest in this plane. But it's existing, And by the grace of our Guru, this service, then this has become manifest before our vision, right? So, really, this is all achintya. It's inconceivable for us,
Like all cool and below as well.
Yeah, it is the same principle, yeah.
But also being excavated, like another Nyatadam Mahatma, excavated, and somebody else is getting the credit for doing it.
There was this one incident it was with Saraswati Thakur, and he'd purchased one piece of land here in Navadvip, and it was just sitting for some time, and then there was another piece of land in Navadvip that he also wanted to purchase, but they didn't have the money for it. And then one of Saraswati Thakur's disciples, he kind of just took the initiative, and he sold the first piece of land that had just been sitting. Maybe you heard this story. He sold the first piece of land, and then he bought that other piece of land that Saraswati Thakur said he wanted to buy. And then he informed Saraswati Thakur, and he was very upset. And he said, I needed that piece of land also. Yeah. And he said, why are you so worried about money? He said, if we need money, I can take one Vaikuntha brick. And we will have, we can buy everything that we want. We'll have so much wealth it will flood the world. One Vaikuntha brick can flood the world with wealth. So why are you worried? So these souls, they're living in another plane, right? Their vision, their calculation is completely different, right? How they're thinking, how they're seeing things, you know.
Incredible.
Yeah. And we're just privileged to be able to come and take a little dust of this land on our head. You know.
Can I share something that happened
Yeah,
to
please.
Chintamani? The year that you
Your daughter.
Yeah, my Chintamani. The year we all came and Vishaka came and visited Chinny, they have she's like a big sister to all the kids in Australia worldwide, but particularly my daughter, because Chinny was trying to find something and Vishaka put her on like that brahmacharini path, you know. And so we told Vishaka, oh listen, we're going to go do some prasad seva at Gorapanima, and she was really supportive, said go, I'll come and see you. And then, you don't know this, but then you came and you brought Navasunda. Sorry if I cry, I'm sorry. It was the day that we just worked out how much we needed to organise for prasad distribution, and quite intense because we were getting trained up, we didn't understand the whole process. And the Vishaka Navasunda turned up and sort of gave us a little bit of time to get out of that intense training. And then she left, and then we all did parikram. Right? We finished the night program and we stood underneath Guru Maharaj's room, and this huge amount of golden foot doves showered us. It was just after you said goodbye to us. This massive amount of even glowworms were in the
Oh my
air.
God!
And they came
Really?
and danced around me, Suleika and Chintamani, and were like touching it. But it was literally after you, like
Wow!
about 15 minutes after you left. You and Nava left, and we were like, wow, that was we just knew there was a time in space where Guru Maharaj gave us all blessing in talking about the foot dust, and if he gives us that mercy where we're so, we're so protected and sheltered. Yeah, you remember that
Wow.
night that you came and visited? Yeah.
Conscious and factual. Conscious and factual. Last year, when you gave us the flowers, and we were Keshi Gat, and you told us to offer the Yamuna Devi, but I tried, and Yamuna Devi was too far out, so I thought I was going to have to go and put the water, but suddenly Yamuna Devi came in. Yeah, she just came in. And I just put the flower out. Yeah.
Any mystical things?
Came with you, not for me. We wanted to give a flower.
That's so sweet.
So this is the thing, right? Our vision is limited. We get some glimpses, like you're all describing some experiences you have. We get some touch, some glimpse, right? There's something far beyond my vision, right? And so this is why we are trying to become more and more acquainted with revealed truth, right? We're trying to put faith in the words of the sadhu, right? The saints, the scripture, the shastra. We're putting our, that's our GPS, right? We're not clear on where we are, who we are, where we're going, where we came from. So we're putting faith in the words of the higher souls, right? And so now we're here in this Navadvip Dham, right? And we are told, what is the spiritual vision of Navadvip, right? It is described as being 9 islands. Navadvip means literally 9 islands, right? And we are mentioning, actually it would be nice to pull up an image. I have that book, the Navadvip Dham Mahatmya here.
That's a great book.
Let's see. Yeah, that would be nice to be able some illustration. What do they call it? Goramando, but what do they call it when you have like visual aids? Yeah.
Visual aid.
Let me see, Navadvip Dham Mahatmya. That would be nice to look at right now. Sometimes, we just get caught up in like, what's the schedule, where are we going? And we kind of forget like that bigger picture, right? So it's nice to remind ourselves. So this is a wonderful book by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We're going to his place today, actually. Gojumadweep. Let me see if I can find it. And so these 9 islands, and there's the central island is Antardweep, where we went yesterday, right? So that's why that's normally our first stop on the Prikram, because that's the center, that's the heart, that's the appearance place of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as Dandi Maharaj was mentioning yesterday, that was revealed. Like, actually another thing we can think about is that we're incredibly privileged. Like, we're kind of like being handed everything on a golden plate, but like for example, like where we went yesterday, the neem tree, right, the birthplace of Mahaprabhu. Prabhu will take you there. You didn't get to come, But like that, that's only been like recently been known, right? Oh, this is the birthplace. It was something uncertain for a long time. And it was Bhaktivinoda Thakur who, he went through a great deal of trouble doing a lot of research. He had retired, but he was having these dreams. I don't know if I can find it right now. He was having these dreams from the Lord saying, oh, you have to reveal my birthplace. And so he was working for the government, which was very prestigious, right? And so he took advantage of that position. He had access to a lot of like old records, historical maps, and then inquiring from locals, looking in different areas, and then finally he identified that as the location after much trouble. And then, so another interesting point is that each of these 9 islands, they represent one of the practices of devotion. I think most of you are familiar with this by now. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Atmani Vedanam. Hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, praying to the Lord, worshipping the Lord, offering oneself in service, offering oneself in friendship. And finally, Atmani Vedanam, full self-surrender. These are the 9 practices of devotion. And each of these islands, they represent one of these practices. And so Antardweep, where we went yesterday, represents Atmani Vedanam, full self-surrender. Navadweep is Pada Sevanam, means serving the lotus feet of the Lord. And it was also part of the vision of Saraswati Thakur to have one of his temples, a Gaudiya Math, established in each of these 9 islands. And actually, this is one reason why Srila Sridhar Maharaj chose this area. There are many reasons. There are many reasons why. I mean, that's like a whole discussion in itself. Like why Srila Sridhar Maharaj chose this spot. We can talk more about that as time goes by. There are many reasons, many points of significance. Actually, it's incredible how he came to choose this spot. But one of them is that we hear that in this area, and there's this little area right down the road, Tegadi Pada. It's still called like that. There's that market, Tegadi Pada market. We've heard that there were a lot of scholars here, pundits, who were anti to Saraswati Thakur, actually. And for that reason, the disciples of Saraswati Thakur weren't able to establish a mission here because there was too much opposition from the locals. And this particular island, right, also Koladweep. This island is Koladweep. Amongst these 9 islands, this is Koladweep. And Kola is referring to Varahadev. The Vishnu avatar of Varahadev. He's the boar, right? Boar incarnation of Vishnu. And there's a whole interesting story around that too, which maybe we'll go into later. So in this island of Koladweep, there was some difficulty in establishing a mat here, Gaudiya Math here. And for that reason, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, like feeling he wanted to fulfill the desire of his guru to have a temple in every island, then he came to establish his mat here. And Keshav Maharaj, he also, I'm not exactly sure of the timeline of everything, but Keshav Maharaj, he was like a very strong, he was known as being like very tough, Keshav Maharaj. He was, what was his name? Do you remember what was his name before Keshav Maharaj? I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been Vinod. Vinod Vihari, might have been. There's one story. He was a dear godbrother of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Srila Sridhar Maharaj gave him sannyas, actually. And he's the one who gave sannyas to Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, this Keshav Maharaj. His mat is just down the road, Devananda Gaudiya mat. It's like 10-minute walk from here, 15 maximum. But he actually, Gurudev described him as like a desperate man. Because remember, Swami Maharaj Prabhupada went first to Srila Sridhar Maharaj for sannyas, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj is very cautious always. And he was afraid about the family members of Swami Maharaj like causing some trouble. Oh, you've taken away our father, our husband, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj was close with their family, right? So he said, maybe after 6 months, like first leave your family after 6 months. But Swami Maharaj didn't want to wait, and then Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, okay, you go to, if you can't wait, go to Keshav Maharaj, And he's ready for anything. And there's one very nice story about Keshav Maharaj I heard from Acharya Maharaj. He was previously the manager of the Chaitanya Mat, where we went yesterday. The Chaitanya, it was the last stop. That was like the headquarters of all these 64 Gaudiya Mats. So this Keshav Maharaj, he was the manager there. And but the story we heard from Acharya Maharaj was that, this is another interesting point, right? Now when you go to Mayapur, it's like very civilized, right? And it's like, it's very clean, it's very, well, comparatively. It's quite clean and organized. But before it was kind of like the way it is now, that's largely due to the vision of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. As we mentioned, it was Srila Sridhar Maharaj's vision that Mayapur, would be actively the center, as it is. And all the leading disciples of Saraswati Thakur would have a place there, and it would be really manifest and be running as the center, right? It's the Mahaprabhu's birthplace. It should be given that dignity. So that was Srila Sridhar Maharaj's vision, and he arranged for several of his godbrothers to have plots of land there. He encouraged all of them to have places there. So that what you see now, that was actually the vision of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. He's staying quietly here in his little mat, but that was his vision for Mayapur. So previously, Mayapur was kind of like a wild, like jungly kind of place. It was like a little dangerous. There were a lot of like gundas, like thieves, and so there were a lot of problems that they had in the temple with some of the locals. And there was money, there was a lot of money that was owed to the temple from some local businesses, local people. And Saraswati Thakur needed someone there like to be able to deal with you need like a tough person. And so he asked Keshav Maharaj. This is before he took sannyas, because he took sannyas later from Srila Sridhar Maharaj. I think his name might have been Vinod. Maybe, I can't remember for sure. Or maybe you can. Yeah, thank you, yeah. But he was a brahmachari. He was in like red cloth, orange cloth as a brahmachari. And Saraswati Thakur requested him to take this position as the manager to deal with everyone. But he told Saraswati Thakur, I can do that if you want, but I'll have to take off my saffron cloth. Because, I might have to get a little rough with people in order to carry out the seva. And it won't look good for a brahmachari, to be beating people and fighting with people. So Saraswati Thakur approved, and he actually left his saffron cloth and took that role as manager for some time to kind of like, clean things up, work things out with the locals, and like establish, you don't mess with us, okay? Don't mess with the Gaudiya Math. Vinod, yeah. Vinod Bihari. Yeah, that was it, Vinod Bihari. Actually, he had the same name as Acharya Maharaj. Yeah, what's ringing in my ears from Acharya Maharaj is he made this very funny comment, like, now I'm no longer Vinod Brahmachari. Now I'm Vinod Babu. Everyone call me Vinod Babu. Babu is kind of like a colloquial way of referring to someone, kind of like giving respect, or I don't know exactly what it means. Literally something like father.
Senior father.
Yeah, something like that. But it's used like you might call like the local shopkeeper who's older than you. You might call him Babu, or
The
like,
only one in our Gurudev's mission is Gutam. We always call him Babu. When he comes, it's like, oh, Babu. No name, just Babu.
It's like, now you call me Vinod Babu. I'm not Vinod Brahmachari.
So it's like for older people only, right?
What did you say?
Older people only. Like same age also can.
No, it's for men.
For men, like older.
And
Like
yeah.
High respect.
Yeah, high respect.
High respect.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the usage. It can be used more informally. Maybe now it's used as more in a high respect way, but previously it would be a little more colloquial.
Yeah.
Like some uncle, like some
Yeah,
uncle.
that's how it goes.
Yeah, something like that. Like Gurudev referred to Swami Maharaj as Abai Babu, like before he became a sannyasi. Prabhupada, the founder of Islam. A little different. Didi is more formal.
Oh, more formal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is, like, usage changes over time. But like nowadays we use Didi. Didi means older sister. And we use it quite freely. But our Gurudev actually mentioned, like, previously I only called two ladies Didi. Like Gurudev mentioned that. One was Rama Didi, the older sister of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and
Around the corner.
was it Shah?
What's her name?
Krishna Mai, maybe, yeah. And who was maybe Shankari also. You know what they called her? Pishima. They called her Pishima. Her name was Bhavatarini, I think. Pishima is kind of like aunt or something, I think. They called her Pishima. But Gurudev mentioned, like Didi, like he mentioned something like that, I only called two ladies Didi in my life. Like it was used before, like high respect. Actually, you know what the Bengalis do sometimes? They used to call me, they say D. They used to call me, they'd call me Vishaka D. Yeah. Like half of Didi.
Little sister.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Little sister is Bon. There's another word, Bon. But this D thing, I never quite understood it. But it was sweet.
So
Yeah.
instead of G, D. Vishaka D.
So, so that Keshav Maharaj, who was this Vinod Bihari, the powerful manager, he kind of took on that challenge of establishing a temple here, and his temple is down the road. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj, little later, then he came to establish his temple here too. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj was successful in changing the hearts of these scholars in this nearby area. And there's one story, because as we were mentioning yesterday, Saraswati Thakur was so revolutionary in his preaching that many people went against him, right? And these scholars, they were opposing him because they thought he's doing something completely bogus. He's making all these unnecessary changes. He's deviating. That was what they thought. And they made a lot of trouble for him when he was present. But by the influence of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, they came to change their vision, and they came to understand who was Saraswati And then the head of them, I forget his name, but the head of this group of pundits, he came here one time and he apologized to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and I think he even made some public apology. And he said, I feel that my offense can be rectified if I will take prasad at the mat of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Sridhar Maharaj. Yeah. Gurudev, he also mentioned once, like, in the time of Saraswati Thakur, there were so many people who could not understand him, who opposed him. He said, but now everyone can understand. You know, the whole, I mean, they've put Srila Prabhupada, like, he's on one of the rupee notes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bhaktivedanta Swami.
Yeah, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. They put him, like, they're selling, and I even heard, maybe it was Vijay who told us, like the government of India, like when they receive different delegates, diplomats from around the world, like one of like the main gifts that they give, it's Bhagavad Gita. But which Bhagavad Gita? It's Swami Maharaj's Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita as it is. That's the edition. There are like hundreds, thousands of editions, and they're giving his Gita, right? So he's like standing for. They're like selecting him as representing India. So like, you know, in the time, because Saraswati, I mean, it's like with any great revolutionary, visionary, many people won't understand. But as time goes by, like seeing the effects of what they've done, then they will understand. Oh, he knew what he was doing. He knew what he could understand what he's doing. You know? So, what time is it now?
Yeah, there was a film, the old black and white film about Mahaprabhu. Anyone ever seen that?
The Nimai of Nadia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nimai and Nadia. Yeah. And in that film, he was actually saying, Mahaprabhu was saying that they think I'm preaching atheism.
Sorry, what did you say?
They think I'm preaching atheism when he started the Sankirtan movement, because the conception of Radha Krishna worship and the Maha Mantra is so far from religious math. It was like another, it was like a speculation.
Right.
Yeah, because it had been so, I suppose, archaeologically buried, religiously buried.
Yes.
So it's like complete revolutionary. It's all made it up, and yet it's all Shakti.
Yeah.
And so that's maybe something like what Bhaktisiddhanta.
Right.
It's people are baffled by it. Because it's so new and it's recently just been revealed, but it's actually always been there. You know, it's amazing.
Well, that's a very nice point. You know, actually, you know, because more pervasive was this kind of like ritualistic, stereotyped conception of religion. And then, you know, what Mahaprabhu is coming out with is this inner natural mood of natural love for the Lord. Not just worshiping the Lord because you're supposed to, or because there's going to be some exchange and you're going to get something, or you're just being religious, but just worshiping the Lord out of love. And I like that expression, so far off the religious map. That's awesome. I'm going to use that. So yeah, it was not understood, and we hear of that occasion when Mahaprabhu was in this particular mood of ecstasy, and he's chanting Gopi, 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 and some local people, they're like, "What are you doing? There's no benefit from that. You know, there's no benefit from chanting the name of Gopi. We hear there's some benefit from chanting the name of Krishna, right? But Mahaprabhu's in this particular mood of ecstasy, and he's like, who is this Krishna? You know, he's mistreating the gopis. You know, he goes chasing after them with a stick. So because of that, that's part of the reason why he decided he must take sannyas, right? Then people will respect him, will listen to what he has to say. And it's also very cool, like how Mahaprabhu chose to appear at the time of the eclipse, because that was like one of the designated times when it's considered auspicious to chant the names of God, right? For protection, because the eclipse is considered to be inauspicious. So for protection, they're not doing it out of natural love, but for protection. So Mahaprabhu chooses to appear at that time, right? When they're all chanting the names of the Lord. So what can I say? We feel very, very blessed. You know, we're so privileged. We don't know how privileged we are. Everything's being handed to us in this kind of like very simple, condensed, like a little candy's being given to us, and we're easily swallowing it. But like there's been so much in the last centuries that has happened by our acharyas to pave the way, so we can just come in easily, right? Like Gurudev mentioned about Swami Maharaj, right? He blasted a tunnel through the mountain of Western ego, and I'm coming through easily. So also all of our acharyas, Mahaprabhu came, then, the 6 Goswamis, right? Then we have Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Saraswati Thakur, then our more recent gurus, Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, Srila Govinda Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and like they've done so much work actually, so we can just come here very easily and have a nice room and, come and chant the holy names, take nice prasadam, it's not something we want to take for granted, right? And now by the grace of modern technology, we can just fly in. I mean, previously you'd be like a few months by ship. And I was complaining because we had some problems with our flight, and we had like a crazy journey, and then we had a 30-hour train ride, and I'm complaining, but think about it, like it would have been a couple months by ship, like this is easy, this is nothing. So we want to keep some perspective and keep that mood of appreciation and what's being given to us. And lastly, we can mention, how much love and care Srila Govinda Maharaj has for all of us. And because actually Srila Sridhar Maharaj's nature was a little reserved. He came and Gurudev called him a king maker. Yeah, because he said he didn't want to be a king, but actually his position was higher than a king, that he could make kings, right? Like he established many of his godbrothers. He gave them sannyas, he blessed them to become gurus. That was his position. But he himself, he wanted to stay quietly, very simply, humbly, right? He didn't want too much fuss, right? Too many disciples to have to take care of. And he did it in the beginning. He was resisting the Westerners like flooding in. And we have this piece of land, we call it the land of nectar. It's like 10-minute walk down the road. And originally, when they first started coming in the 80s, they all would stay there. Like there was a big encampment there. And they'd come in the day, visit Srila Sridhar Maharaj, take his guidance and go back. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj was happy with that. And they had a name. Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, you have your own name, you have your own gurus, you have your own mission. I can be your advisor on the side. You can come sometimes. And that was what he was happy with. But it was our Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, who was slowly, pushing Srila Sridhar Maharaj, please, he was encouraging him to take them in more. And our Gurudev started building these I think this was the first one. You'll see in the front there, Paschatya Sevak Bhavan, means house of the Western servitors. So that building was especially built for the Western devotees. And that became Brahmachari, Western. You stayed there, yeah. Aha. Wow. Amazing. Was that the year it was open? Or maybe, no, it was opened in the 80s, I think. I think it was opened earlier.
Mahananda, as you was then, had the book room. Downstairs,
that's right, that little room there, yeah.
I used to spend all my time and we work on Tarkam. So I just hang out with them all there. They go to the shop. Come back and hang out with them some more.
Yeah, so this was the men's building, Western men, and then we had the ladies' building over here, right? So this was our Gurudev, like he started making this facility, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj was a little alarmed by it in the beginning, we heard when the first building went up, he made some expression, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, I'm besides myself, I'm besides myself. He was like a little alarmed, like all these people coming in, and these extra buildings, and what's going on. And Gurudev's like kind of like being a little sneaky and a little cheeky, and please Guru Maharaj. And sometimes Gurudev would bring some devotees to hear from him. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj would say, I'm not feeling so well, I'm in my last years, I'm not feeling so inclined to speak. And our Gurudev would say, just 5 minutes. And then when Srila Sridhar Maharaj would start, then he'd be going for 2 hours. So it's, really by the grace of, and Srila Govinda Maharaj also made that promise. Because originally Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he said that he didn't want to give initiation to the Western devotees. And he also said, I'm leaving soon. He pretty much, I think he may have been the last amongst his godbrothers to leave. Wow. He wasn't the youngest, but he outlived. I think pretty much, like Jajavar Maharaj even was younger than him, and he left before, and he pretty much outlived all his godbrothers.
I think Pramod Puri Maharaj passed like 99.
That's right. Pramod Puri Maharaj was longer. But otherwise, Srila Sridhar Maharaj was here longer than most of his godbrothers.
Guru Maharaj didn't expect to outlive Prabhupada.
That's right. Yeah, he also mentioned that. Yeah. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, I'm leaving soon. How can I take responsibility and then leave? But our Gurudev, he said, I promise, I will take care. When you leave, I will take responsibility. So like in a very serious way, was Srila Govinda Maharaj who advocated, for us.
And he really did, he actually really did take care of the Western disciples, like all our seniors, they're more Shiksha Gurus for so many of us, and the way they spoke about Govinda Maharaj taking care of them, I don't think we can even, can't even conceive that. And we don't care, actually.
Yeah. To the point of dropping medicine in their mouth. Like to that level, Srila Govinda Maharaj took care of everyone. Yeah. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.